Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice. Please do not know.
There's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is time for a little fire and ice coming at you now on a Tuesday. Got my dude Brandon the Iceman Cone hanging out with me. We're going to have Cody Decker. I was responding to a text from Cody Decker as the intro was playing, Brandon. Thus why I didn't have everything ready to go right now. Cody Decker is going to be joining us a little bit later on the show. You can watch us right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as well. We're all over the place, Brandon, for people to watch and enjoy our show, our little time here. Always a great time to see you. I want to give a thanks out to our friends with the Sun City Stealth. I was out there this past weekend, a history-making moment with the Sun City Stealth, the very first game for them, their inaugural game, women's tackle football, professional football here in El Paso. Super excited about that, Brandon.
Well, you guys did a wonderful job, you, yourself, and Chris Babcock, play-by-play in color. And it was really an amazing occasion because Jennifer Hahn, the El Paso's only champ, was able to flip the coin. And then you had Elia Esparza sing the national anthem. They had a great crowd at Franklin on Saturday night. I'm only sorry that I couldn't be there doing the sideline reporting. My goal is to be there the next time around when they play later on this month, because I love being a sideline reporter, but you guys did a wonderful job, and I'm happy that their season is underway. History in the making, like you said.
That's true. And again, like the craziest thing about that entire game, Brandon, was how one-sided it was, but it didn't feel that way because of how into the game the crowd was. So we were super excited about that. A great moment as well. And of course, that game being dedicated to the Alzheimer's Association, you know, that's near and dear to me. And we're actually going to continue that now with the Sun City Stealth, not just that game, but all the way through the season now.
Well, that's it's really awesome, and the fact remains is that what you do for the Alzheimer's Association is wonderful. You have a lot of great things that you do all the time. I mean, recently you guys had, if I'm not mistaken, you were baking and you were cooking and selling things, and that was cool watching you and your family do that. Lemonade and a bunch of goodies, if I'm not mistaken, and I mean, it looked amazing, and certainly I'm glad that you guys are affiliated with them. Now, let me ask you, are you going to be doing play-by for every home game this season?
I believe so. I believe that is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to make sure my schedule works out. The next game on May 22nd, then a game after that, May 29th. Those will be their final games at home. There's only 3 home games this year, unless they make the playoffs. We're hoping that they make the playoffs. So hopefully we get more than the 3 home games.
Absolutely. And you were phenomenal. You and Babcock, amazing. You guys were great.
Well, I don't know about amazing for me, but he was good. He's always good at the stuff that he does as Chris Babcock. I wanted to throw this your way, Brandon, because you brought up what I did with the Alzheimer's Association, the lemonade stand. I got Jericho hanging out over here with me right now. We did the lemonade stand. June 7th is National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. And I'm trying to find a way that I can get like more groups involved and do something similar to the lemonade stand, Brandon. So I would like it if maybe there's a way that we can get the Iceman involved in this as well. The ice cream cone man, as Paul Torres would call you. Like, is there a way that we can do this, Brandon?
I don't see why not. I mean, when it comes to ice cream, I'm a big fan of ice cream. And yes, I've been called ice cream cone in the past. So I'll tell you what, Tip, you can count me in, especially when it deals with ice cream.
Whenever I heard that, whenever Paul Torres told me that he was the only person that called you ice cream cone, I said, there's no way in hell, because I've heard a lot of people say that about you.
Yeah, the name it's a nasty rumor going around that I'm Mr. Ice Cream Cone, and was it Jericho that used to call me Mr. Ice Cream Cone?
Yes.
Or was it, yeah, that's what I thought. So, and then of course your wife Destiny said, well, we're trying to break him of that habit, but the kid was calling me Ice Cream Cone since he was like 2, so that's okay. I mean, let's put it this way: I've been called worse and I've been called better, but yeah, the Iceman is a good name, but Ice Cream Cone. Not too bad.
So our friend Cody Decker is going to join us a little bit later on in the show. We're going to be talking to him about what he's got going on with Team Israel versus Team El Paso. So that'll be fun to see what they've got going on. We'll probably get that, Brandon, in about 20 minutes or so from what he's telling me right now on the text line. So that gives us enough time to talk a little bit about the NBA and all the stuff that's going on in the NBA right now. I don't think you and I have really spoken a bunch about this. Like it's been a lot with the NFL draft. We'll get to the draft. We'll talk about that stuff as well. Last week, one of my new best friends that I would like to say, Mike Smith, joined us. We spoke about the Kentucky Derby. Didn't get the W for him, but it was a fun Derby to watch.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, look, Bob Baffert wins his 7th Kentucky Derby, and that was just legendary. But the favorite didn't win. He had been 5 for 5. And I will say, though, and I sent you that video of Mike Smith, I was watching the footage. I was literally watching NBC for hours because I get excited about the Kentucky Derby. And they mentioned Mike Smith more than any other jockey. I mean, it was that he was riding in his record 27th Kentucky Derby, and he was 18 years old when he first rode in one, I should say. And of course, the fact remains that he was on the Triple Crown a few years ago and Justify. I mean, I was like, Tip, check this out. I mean, this guy was on our show on Tuesday. It was really cool to see how often they spoke about him.
And I brought it up to you, and I think we need to get him on sometime again in the future, not just for the Kentucky Derby, but maybe for the Preakness, maybe for the Belmont, and maybe you and I can convince him not to retire right now. I would just say, hey, don't hang up those. I guess the uniform, don't hang it up in 2 years like you were saying you're going to do. Ride this thing out till you win at least one more Kentucky Derby, just so he can mention Fire and Ice as motivation in his post-game interview.
I think that would work, and I think that's perfect. And I mean, I have to say this, okay? I'm thinking next week is a week from this Saturday is the Preakness. And also, I want to check my calendar. It's UFC 262. So imagine this in a world where we could have a doubleheader, okay? We have Money Mike Smith, the 6th best jockey of all time, living legend, and then maybe followed by the Nostradamus of UFC fighting, Jesse Almanzar, who literally picked the last card absolutely perfect, flawless. It made me look terrible. Yes, I still owe her Whataburger. I won't forget. Sorry about that. And imagine a doubleheader. Imagine a doubleheader of guests like that on Fire and Ice. I think it's in the works, Tip, because I've already got Jesse confirmed, and I'm going to work. Yes, I have her confirmed already, and I'm going to work on our buddy Money Mike Smith. I'll give him a call probably towards the end of this week.
How much shit has she given you after just the dismantling she gave you? Like you were loud wrong, by the way. Just the dismantling she gave you on that last UFC.
Well, she broke my balls quite a bit, and I mean, it wasn't that bad. It was like I went to see her, last Wednesday, and to say hi and say, you know what, I give you mad props for doing that, and she's just basically like, hey, I should have bet on it. And this, I'm like, yeah, you should have put your money where your mouth was. I mean, because God almighty, you picked the whole card right. But I'm like, I was very wrong. You were very right. And I mean, if you could keep doing that, that'll be really, really impressive. And oh, by the way, you got to let me know what your Whataburger order is pretty soon. So, I mean, she wasn't talking like mad shit or anything, but, in her eye, it was kind of like, hey, I made you look like a royal putz. and you just like, picked those fights wrong, and I was right, and I know my shit. And well, yeah, I'm like, that's why I asked you to come on, right?
There was a method to the Iceman's madness, is what happened there.
I mean, what could I say? When you talk to somebody and they're that knowledgeable and they train in the sport for years, and you can have a conversation forever about UFC with them. You're like, well, yeah, this person's pretty sharp, so.
Well, so we got the UFC stuff. We've spoken a little bit about the Kentucky Derby. Hopefully we get one of my new best friends, Mike Smith, to join us as well. Maybe I could see if we can't get some more just outrageous names of horses that he's ridden in his past. But I wanted to talk to you, Brandon, a little bit about what's going on with the NBA, with LeBron James and the play-in game. Because if you've been living under a rock and you haven't been paying attention to the NBA, because I can understand why people haven't been paying attention to the NBA, There is a basically 7, 8, 9, 10 seed play-in game that you have to get into the actual playoffs itself, which to me, I kind of love. And you know how much I love my basketball, and this is like just wrecking the all-around aura of playoff basketball and all that nonsense. LeBron James this past week, because the LA Lakers are slipping in those standings, man. They are free falling on down. They are now one game away from having to play in the play-in game. LeBron James is now on record as saying he hates the fact that he may have to play in this play-in game. Brandon, what are your thoughts, A, on the play-in game, B, on what LeBron James is saying about it?
Well, I mean, I'm one that likes parity, and I'm okay with more teams making the playoffs. I mean, there are over 30 teams in the league. And I mean, yeah, 16 teams, is certainly a lot. And that's more than about half of the league. And I mean, ultimately, as long as you're getting quality basketball, and I think the biggest philosophy here, Mike, is that give the little guy a chance to get in that normally would have never had a chance. And maybe that team could make a splash and make a hell of a run. A la the 1999 New York Knicks. And I know I'm dating myself, but being an 8 seed and making it all the way to the finals. I mean, look, if you don't make it, you have no chance of winning it all. And I'm okay with giving more teams the opportunity to get in as long as you're going to see quality basketball and not teams that are extremely undeserving of getting in. And as for LeBron and the Lakers, now, how the mighty have fallen this year, but then again, they've been decimated by injuries. I believe LeBron's going to be out the rest of the year, and they may very well be one of those play-in teams, and I'm not surprised at all about it in the West for him.
Well, just a couple of games left in the NBA season. I want to say there's like 5, 10 games maybe left,
if I'm not mistaken.
In the season right now, they're one loss out of being the 7th seed, right? Because right now, the way that it stands in the Western Conference, Utah with the best record in the NBA, I don't think anyone saw that happening. But then the Phoenix Suns, another team that just came out of nowhere, I had them pegged as like a 7 or 8 seed, and here they are, the 2nd seed in the West. The Denver Nuggets, the LA Clippers, round out the top 4. Then you got LA at 5, but they're only a half game up over the Mavericks and 1 game up over the Portland Trailblazers. Steph Curry is willing the Golden State Warriors into the playoffs, and they keep rising up the ranks as well. Looks like they may finish the season as an 8 seed, but if you're the LA Lakers, do you really feel comfortable playing a team like the Golden State Warriors to get into the NBA playoffs? And you're talking about a team that just won the NBA championship. They basically did nothing to overhaul their team during the offseason. They've played a bunch of games in last year's regular season. I think it was like 7 weeks off in between seasons, and then getting back into this season. There's a lot of miles there. LeBron James is basically 157 years old. I don't think the draw you want is a hot Steph Curry who is on a mission at this moment.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to play Golden State right now. That's one of those teams where you're hoping and praying that it's just not you who has to play them in a play-in game, especially with how this whole shtick is going right now. But, I mean, if you're LA, look, if you're healthy, then I don't think you have anything to worry about, because on paper, if you're healthy, then you're better than anyone else in the NBA. And I don't care if you're a play-in team, a number 1 seed, whatever. If you're healthy, once the playoffs start, you'll step up the intensity and you'll be fine. But if you're not 100% and you're playing a red-hot Golden State team, or I should say at least a red-hot Curry, who's just playing lights out, he's been playing lights out for quite some time now, then you would have a legitimate beef and something to really be worried about, Mike. But ultimately, again, how healthy are they going to be? And right now, you got to give everybody as much rest as possible going into the postseason, but I just don't know. I don't see the Lakers as being nearly as strong as they were last year. And of course, a lot of that is attributed to the fact that there was such a short off season.
Let's talk about like the standings though that we're watching right now in the NBA. Utah with the best record, not just in the West, but in the NBA all around. And then Phoenix, again, not just in the West, the second best record in the NBA right now. I think maybe we could have said, okay, I could see it with Utah because they were a playoff team. They've been perennially a playoff team. But the Phoenix Suns, all they added was Chris Paul. And there is that joke, of course, our guy Sal Montes likes to say Chris Paul's curfew is the second round. There has to be some sort of expectations now on the Phoenix Suns, right? Like there has to be something there.
Well, no doubt. I mean, and CP3 brings that leadership with him. I mean, the man's been on some very good teams before, and especially how close he came when he was in Houston, and how the disappointment where, to be honest, and I really think they would have beaten Golden State had he not got the injury in Game 6 a couple of years ago. They lose Game 6 and 7, and that was that. The rest was history. He is a great player, and what he brings to the table with his experience and leadership is something else. And whenever you have a guy like that surrounded by some pretty good role players and pretty good other players in general, I certainly think there's a chance in a well-coached team. So I think that, again, this is not a fluke. You see that they're one of the top seeds in the West right now.
So let's talk about the NBA now. The playoffs right around the corner. Who do you think? Because as you know, the Lakers are hurt, so they would normally be everyone's odds-on favorite to win right now. We haven't seen the Brooklyn Nets really have a full lineup with James Harden, with Kevin Durant, with Kyrie Irving. I want to say it's 8 or 9 games that they've played total together.
Right. Yeah.
What team is the favorite right now to win the NBA Finals, or at least make it to the NBA Finals?
Well, I mean, look, I want to say Utah's playing so well, and they've been playing so well all year. But I don't know. There's just something about them in the West where I'm not completely sold on the Jazz. I still say you got to beat the champions. And again, if LA is healthy, I don't think anybody's going to beat them, even though it's been a long season for them and it was a short off season. But I still have to put my money on LA as long as Davis and LeBron James are ready. And, well, they'll be ready. Whether or not they're healthy or not is another thing out West. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to see a team like Utah, kind of a different team, be in the finals and represent the West, since it's been since the late 90s when they were in the finals, when they lost to the Bulls and Michael Jordan in back-to-back years. Out East, look, Brooklyn is the most talented team out East on paper. But as you noted, these guys haven't played together. Once they're all healthy, if they're able to play together, how great are they going to be? I think Milwaukee, to me, is such an underachiever the last several years. If Brooklyn can mesh together at the right time, it's definitely the Nets that will represent the East. If not, I'm going to say the Milwaukee Bucks.
Is there more disappointment in the way because with the Lakers, you could say, okay, there's injuries. Whenever you lose LeBron James and Anthony Davis for an extended period of time, yeah, you can expect to take a couple of L's here and there, right?
Right.
Is it more disappointing looking at a otherwise pretty healthy Boston Celtics team, a team that was in the Eastern Conference Finals, a team that up until last year and earlier this year, we could say had championship expectations, be the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference? Because if this is a regular season, if this is, not the extended playoffs that we're having right now because of COVID, if this is a regular season, that team is taking on the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs and getting bounced. There's no doubt in my mind, despite the fact that Jason Tatum went off for 60 against my San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are not a great team. They were up 30 on the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics needed all of those 60 points to eke out a victory against a depleted Spurs team. That has to be the most disappointing team in the NBA right now, right?
They are underachievers, if I've ever seen underachievers. And not just this year, the last several years where they've gotten really close and on the brink of ultimately making the finals. And when LeBron James said, not so fast, a few years back. Look, I mean, well coached. I love Brad Stevens. They have a plethora of talent on their roster to where they have been so good for so long. And the fact that they haven't even gotten to the finals has been very disappointing. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at them another season where they are just completely underachieving, they should be doing much better than they are. But again, anything can happen once you get in the playoffs and you can get hot at the right time. They have the talent, they have the roster to make a real good run there.
I've always been worried of the team that's like, we could just flip the switch, right? Because eventually that switch just doesn't turn on. And to me, these next couple of games, this last stretch of the regular season, we've got to see something out of Boston. We've got to see something out of LA, because if you don't have a healthy LeBron James, you don't have a healthy Anthony Davis, and who's to say what level of health they're going to be at whenever they do come back? those teams are in trouble. And both those teams, I think all of us at the beginning of the season could have said, yeah, I could see both those teams in the NBA Finals, and that would be the dream NBA Finals for the NBA to have Boston versus LA.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, that would be awesome. That would be tremendous. We're going back to 2009 and 2010, around that era, a little more than a decade ago, and that was a dream finals, made in heaven, right? A match made in heaven. But that switch, you talk about that switch. It's a tricky little thing because it can either make you or break you. And as I talked about, we see this all the time. It's not about clearly how you start, and you could even finish strong. But once you get in the tournament, what's going to happen? How are you going to be challenged? Where's the health? What's going on there? I mean, it's going to be, all of the above. And that's why, and that would be kind of cool again this year to see a totally different finals, to see Brooklyn and, Utah. Yeah, just something like way out there where we're not expecting, hey, no LA, definitely not the Lakers, and certainly on the other end of the spectrum, Milwaukee's not competitive again. They don't make the conference finals. And I don't know. It would just be kind of cool to see something different this postseason.
I know you say it would be cool to see something different this postseason. I guarantee you nobody out there is clamoring for like Atlanta Hawks versus the Memphis Grizzlies NBA Finals. Like, nobody wants that.
I could hardly wait for a finals matchup like that. I mean, I'd be doing somersaults. Have you ever seen a heavy-set dude do somersaults?
You've got to be joking right now with that.
I'm telling
Nobody
you,
wants to watch that.
No, hell no. Come on, Tip. I'm joking. What do I want to watch that for? I'm not interested in that.
No, I don't think anyone out there is interested in that. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft that just happened this past weekend. It might have been buried by the news that Aaron Rodgers is unhappy in Green Bay. He didn't say it, but it was leaked out there, and he hasn't denied it. So that has to say there's a little bit of validity to that right there. First off, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. What do you think the trade value is there, and does he ultimately get traded, or what does Green Bay do? Because they came out and said flat out, we're committed to Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they have to be committed to Aaron Rodgers, and the trade value would be through the roof for a guy like that because he makes any team an instant favorite to win a Super Bowl if they have enough talent around them. I mean, it's like a whole Tom Brady situation where if you put him in the right circumstances, he goes on to win a Super Bowl. So I will say this. He is indeed not happy because I don't blame him. I mean, they keep screwing it up in the draft. They keep screwing it up in the postseason, questionable coaching decisions. They're just not making the man happy, and rightfully so. With that said, though, do I think he leaves? No, I don't. I think there's no way in hell that they let Aaron Rodgers depart and leave Green Bay. Any chance you have of him in his aging, dwindling years of winning a Super Bowl are now. And that gives you the best chance to win a title is right now. So no way can they let him go.
Our guy Hyman Pinkman asking, what was your NFL team? I believe it's the Cowboys and the Bears, right? Like those are your two teams?
Yeah. Huge Cowboys fan. Been that since I was in middle school, and also became a Bears fan living in Chicago in the late 80s, early 90s. And, my loyalty lies to both teams. So
there you go. Those are Brandon's teams there. Whenever we talk about Aaron Rodgers and like the hotbed that Aaron Rodgers is, I pose this question to a lot of people because they say that they haven't done him justice. They haven't done enough with him. He's been to back-to-back NFC championship games. He's been to 5 NFC championship games in his career. If the team's good enough to get you to the NFC championship, I feel like the team's good enough to get you into the Super Bowl. It's just not in the cards for him, right? And again, like this year, you look at this year's NFC championship game, his defense got him 3 turnovers off of the greatest quarterback any of us have ever seen, and they still lost the game. Yes, it could be a questionable coaching call, but I mean, how many times do we see Peyton Manning whenever the team wanted to punt and Peyton Manning's just waving the team off? Like be that guy. Like if you want to sit there and get all the accolades that you possibly can as like, I'm the greatest quarterback that ever lived, quote unquote, by a lot of people out there, take a stand and then be the guy that says, you know what? Yeah, we lost because of me, instead of deflecting it all over to everybody. I think that's my biggest issue with him is he's got a good running game. He's got a top 5, or if not one of the top 3 receivers in Devontae Adams. We saw his tight end be one of the better tight ends in the NFL. His offensive line holds up because he doesn't really get hit all that often, and he had a pretty solid defense. What more do you need?
Well, you need to be able to run the ball in the end zone on third down and not kick a field goal. That's for sure. And again, that was his fault for not being able to score, making a very judgmental call ultimately. But you can't correct stupid. And the move to kick the field goal was flat out a stupid decision. So, you can do everything. You can lead your team to being on the brink. But if you don't have the right coaching decisions and the right coaching calls, then ultimately come back to bite you in the tuchus. But there have been instances, and it's hard to believe he's been to 5 NFC title games. There have been instances where there's no excuse that they didn't go on to the Super Bowl. You know specifically what I'm talking about. A few years ago at this point when they lost to Seattle in Seattle. They should have won that game hands down. But yeah, I mean, there comes a point where ultimately you can put the blame on him. And you can say you need to be the one to get your team. You're the leader of this team. And it's inexcusable that you've only won 1 Super Bowl, or at least been to 1 Super Bowl.
I was extremely shocked that he didn't get traded on draft day, because I felt like that news got dropped on draft day simply because I could see a team like the 49ers moving up and trading away as many picks as they possibly can, because they seem to be a quarterback away to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I was and I'm sure Green Bay had to have fielded a bunch of calls too. Do you think that they might just have their stock too high in him? Like they want and obviously they're going to get a king's ransom for him if they do wind up trading him. But do you think they're asking for too much?
I would ask for too much for him. I mean, he's not somebody that I'm willing to let go for nothing. I mean, if you're going to give away one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, your franchise quarterback, the man that could still take you to the promised land, the 3-time MVP, whose numbers speak for themselves, then you better get a king's ransom for him. So I'm sure they're asking for the ranch and then some for him. But for that type of a player, you have to ask everything for him, Mike.
Well, and I was about to say, okay, well, if you're the team out there making the offer, his age of 37 years old has to be something that, kind of a deterrent for you. But here we are in 2021 talking about the reigning Super Bowl champion being Tom Brady at 43 years old. So, I mean, 37 ain't what it used to be in the NFL. Maybe that's where maybe you could see a guy like Aaron Rodgers play another 4 or 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers is so efficient. He's such a great pocket passer. His mobility is still there. It's hard as heck to catch the guy. To me, he's just such a brilliant quarterback. He's so entertaining to watch. This past year proved everything. I mean, he says you want to draft a quarterback. Hey, look at what I could do. Anything that he thinks he could do, I could do a lot better, and I will be the MVP again and have a career year at the age of 37. So come on. This guy's career is far from over at this point.
You said his mobility is still there, but he didn't run into the end zone 8 yards. So it must not be there completely where he wants it to be for Aaron Rodgers. Going to the actual draft, though, because I would say that Aaron Rodgers saying that he was unhappy there had to be the highlight of the draft. You know me, I'm not a big draft guy. I don't dive into it the way that a lot of people want me to, or the way that a lot of people do. Who do you think had the best draft, Brandon? And what do you think about the Dallas Cowboys spending their first 3 picks, linebacker, cornerback, linebacker?
Well, I mean, look, I got to say, and I usually don't give the Bears a lot of credit in the draft, but the way they moved up to number 11, and to me, got a potential franchise quarterback when that's a team that hasn't had a quarterback in years. I mean, arguably maybe since Jim McMahon. I really like the move. I think it was a shrewd move. I mean, you gave up a lot, but I mean, look at the guy they got. I think he was potentially at least, if not the best, the second best quarterback in the draft. So I was very happy about that move. That move was a very ballsy move, but it was a good move. I was proud of the Chicago Bears, especially with that first round pick. Now, overall, though, you talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I've looked at their draft grades. They've been a little suspect. First round was absolutely brilliant. Okay. You trade up with Philly. Philly gives you a third round pick, and you get the guy that you were still going to go after, who supposedly is one of the best linebackers in the draft. You fill that vital need with Sean Lee retiring and Van Der Esch injured all the time. And I mean, look, the first 3 picks, defensive, then they go for a defensive back. You've got to do that. You've got to fix that defense, because that defense is pathetic. It's terrible. It's the worst defense we've ever seen in our lives, Tip. So I like what they did, at least the first few picks. But I mean, some of the late round picks were kind of stretches where, hey, you know what? You could have gotten that guy in the 6th or 7th round. Hey, look who it is, the man, the myth, the legend, our buddy Cody Decker.
What's up, babies?
We'll talk a little bit more about the NFL draft here coming up. We got our guy Cody Decker joining us. I see him wearing a Red Sox shirt. Literally the first time I've seen him in God knows how long, and he has to be wearing that shirt of all the things.
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean the first place Red Sox? Suck it.
Yeah, Tip. He told you, didn't he?
Sorry that Garrett Cole can't pitch every day, Tipton.
Hey, the Yankees are getting there, man. After starting 5-11 to be 14-14 right now, they're starting to get the momentum going.
These are going to be just fine. There's a team that can hit. They'll accidentally score 20 once July starts. It'll be perfectly fine. The Yankees will most likely finish second in that division behind the Rays. The Red Sox most likely will finish 4th.
But it's nice to have like the optimism of 30 games being played.
I'm not a Red Sox fan. They just used to pay me.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as we got that there cleared out of the air for you right now.
I'm a fan of nobody except for this guy, and that's 2 thumbs pointing right back in my face. I'm a handsome man, and all I care about is me.
The best beard to ever grace this show is obviously that of Cody Decker. You've got something that you've got coming up right now with Team Israel and a team here in El Paso. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
You know, I've never been a big guy when it comes to the idea of club ball. So don't think for a second I'm starting a club team here in El Paso. That's not what I'm doing. As you might know, I'm a big proponent of Team Israel. I played for the WBC team both times. I've been lucky enough to have quite a following in the Jewish community, because there is a very, very short list of good baseball players who happen to be Jewish. And you bet your ass I'm on that list. So you know, they called me letting me know they qualified for the Olympics. I am not going to play for the Olympic team. I did not get Aliyah. I have to become a member of the Olympic team. You do have to get dual citizenship, and I did not do that. I started my show Swings and Misses. I couldn't take a month off to go do that. Now, though, with all the work I'm doing here in El Paso for the El Paso Border Youth Athletic Association, we've really gotten some players to a place that they are getting pretty impressive. And this has been a crazy, crazy year. You know, a lot of these guys were set up to go play at El Paso Community College. EPCC season completely canceled. So we have an abundance of players who missed out on their senior year, who are now missing out on their freshman year of college, who are all throwing 90 to 95, who in high school, they never touched 85. So we're in a position where we got some very impressive arms here in El Paso with nothing to do with them at the moment. So I got a phone call from Team Israel. I started having a nice conversation, and we came up with the idea that we set up an exhibition against Team Israel over in Phoenix this next week. So I'm going to bring over about 25 of El Paso's best young players, 2 high school players, which I'm really excited about. Manny Palma out of Cathedral. He hit 600 this season. Just an incredible year for him. And Will Gross out of Coronado. Great lefty. He's currently set up to go to Blinn College in Texas. And I think that kid has got a much brighter future than just Blinn. Now, of course, I'm nothing against any junior college in the world, but this is a very good lefty who's got very good secondary stuff and great command. And he's running it up there around 88 miles per hour now. And before this year, he'd never thrown above 82. I'm really excited for the young guys that we're going to get a chance to showcase. We got some other guys. We got, Drew Marufo went to Santa Teresa High School. He went to University of New Mexico. Unfortunately, he left there, and he's kind of in limbo. This is a chance for him to get on the mound in front of some pro guys. Over in Team Israel, they're going to be running out there Ty Kelly, Ian Kinsler. They're going to be rolling out Blake Galen. They're going to be rolling out Zach Weiss. These are just guys that played in the big leagues as recently as 2 years ago. So getting these guys who have never played a pro game in their life or even a college game in their life, and they're going to go out there and stand toe-to-toe against the major leaguers, it's a hell of an opportunity, and I'm really, really excited for them.
I'm looking at the roster and the pitchers and some of the hitters you have. I mean, the hitters, you have Eric Sim, Brent Dean, Max Chapman, John Figueroa. Jose Huertardo, just a few, named a few there. And then, of course, pitching staff loaded. Julian Rosas, you mentioned, Donnie Smith, Mitch Stone. These kids, what an opportunity for them. And the fact that, you've done so much for baseball for the city of El Paso. Talk about what it means to you to be able to have orchestrated this, Cody, and going against Team Israel that you've got so much experience with in the past. It's got to be quite an honor for you to have orchestrated this and now be going with the team here in El Paso.
I'm not going to lie to you. It is a bit of an honor. I'm really enjoying this. As of right now, I am penciled in as a player manager. And selfishly, obviously, I'd want to go get a couple of at-bats, but I'm actually kind of looking at it in a very different perspective right now. I'm looking at it more like this is an opportunity for these guys to really get seen for the first time, maybe in their lives. It might lead to nothing, but 2, 3, maybe 4 guys get on somebody's radar. Maybe something happens. I'd rather the focus be on them. I've already had my time. People have already seen me play. I'm gold. I had a good career and I'm very pleased with it. This part of my career is all about taking care of these kids who never got the opportunities that I got. So I think it's best that I stick myself in the manager chair and put these guys in the best position I possibly can to succeed. And I'm really excited. You mentioned the name Eric Sim. Eric Sim is basically a baseball influencer. Does a lot of videos for Momentum. He's going to bring his camera crew out there. We're going to get great content. I'm bringing another couple of content creators as well. We're going to have documentary crews out there. We're going to make this as fun as we possibly can. And it's just going to be a hell of an experience. If nothing else, I expect us to win, by the way. I'm not bringing these guys out there to lose. We're going out there to play hard and we're going to win. And we're going to have a blast doing it.
I feel like if at some point in the game there's like a 8-run difference late in the game, I think manager Decker takes off the manager's hat and then gets up in the batter's box and gets ready to knock out some dingers.
It's thoughtful, but if my team is up by 8 runs, I want them to be up by 18. Keep it going, boys. Keep it going. Get on those scouts' radars, baby.
What kind of a manager is Cody Decker going to be? That's what I want to know.
I like to believe that I'm a good old-fashioned hard ass. I'm just yelling at everybody. I don't think, think Varsity Blues, only more abusive.
Oh, nice.
I think that's me. I think I'm a guy that's just going to be maybe even violent. Maybe I'm going to hit somebody. I'm going to choose my assistant coach, Brent Dean, because he's just going to hit me back. No, I'm a players guy. I support my players. I'm going to put them in the best possible position for them to succeed. I doubt I'll be calling too many plays. I'm going to be staying with the catcher quite a bit and handling the running game. But for the most part, I'm going to let these guys go out there and play their game. Not that bunting isn't nice, but swing the bat. Let's go.
There we go. Brandon, you know how much I feel about that. I hate the NL not having a DH. That needs to be a thing. So I like the style already. Rudy Saucedo asking, what are your thoughts on Eric Sim's approach to baseball? Do you find him entertaining? Is this a welcomed approach?
It depends on what you're going for. He's going for the entertainment value. And he's trying to do as funny and entertaining things as he possibly can. His approach to training, he lifts hard and he throws hard. There's nothing wrong with that, provided you're doing the proper amount of recovery and preparation to do so. You can do drive line type throwing programs, but the thing about those is you have to go overboard with strength and conditioning and recovery, not to mention sleep and diet. So it's not one thing. It's not like you see Eric Sim breathing in what are those called? Where the guy gets knocked out and you break the stick. What are those called?
Oh, one of those. It's not like when you have a concussion or something.
Yeah.
Smelling salts or something, right?
What'd you say it was, Tipton?
Was it like smelling salt?
Smelling salt. So what he does is he always breaks a smelling salt and he sniffs it and he tries to throw 100. Now, do I think you should do that all the time? Probably not. No. I think it's probably a bad idea to do that a lot. It's going to probably do some serious damage to your septum. But he's entertaining. He's fun. And I got to say, it's so funny on our team. We're starting day one. Joe Beimel, 15-year big leaguer, is starting opening day of this thing on Thursday. He's going to throw the first game and nobody's starstruck about it. Everybody's like, Eric Sim is coming. Dude, Eric Sim played indie ball, and you guys are just sitting around like he's a 20-year big leaguer, and Joe's just sitting around like, these guys for real?
It's a different time, man.
It really is.
I think it's great, though. You have such familiarity with Team Israel being part of that squad years ago. But how does it feel to be now going against them in these exhibition games? And what does that give you, like, any sort of an advantage because you do know them so well, do you think, Cody?
No, it's 2 baseball games. So, it's a very small sample size. If this was a longer season, I had more advanced scouting reports. Yeah, I would know how to attack them a little bit better. There's a solid probably 10 or 15 guys on the team that I do not know very well.
Right.
So I'm not going to get scouting reports on them. So all I'm going to ask them is like, hey, all I want to know is who are your speed guys. That's it. That's a fair request. Let me know who your speed guys are, and I'll let you know who mine are. And that's all they need to know. And that's all I need to know. Outside of that, I think just go out and play your game. As much as you want to break down scouting reports and hammer out a team as best as you possibly can in every way you can, at the end of the day, you just got to play your game. And that's what I want these guys to do. I want them to go out there and play their game. I don't want them to focus on the other guys. It's very easy to be distracted. Oh, that's Ian Kinsler. He's an all-star. That's cool. Ty Kelly. I remember watching him in the World Series. Great. I love that. But they need to focus on themselves. They need to go out there and have an at bat. They need to go on that mound. They need to throw strikes. They need to pound the zone. As much as we preach guys throwing hard and improving their spin rate and their metrics, at the end of the day, you got to get on the mound and compete. You got to throw strikes. You got to battle. You have to have secondary pitches. You have to have a clue what the hell you're doing. It's not just go on the mound and let it rip.
Tip, go ahead.
So again, it's a Team El Paso Elite. They've got a stacked roster that's going to be taking on a Team Israel's Olympic team. You mentioned that you didn't go get your dual citizenship because of starting your new show, Swings and Misses. Is there a possibility, like even if it's a tiny possibility, that in the next Olympics we might see Cody Decker on Team Israel
On the next Olympics?
Yeah,
No.
you're still a young
in
guy.
4 years?
You
want me to mentally prepare for a tournament in 4 years?
I think it's more like 3 years, isn't it? Because it's 21. So
also baseball's not going to be in the next Olympics. This is the last time the Olympics will have baseball anyways. No, this is pretty much it. If they were to come to me and say, hey, get your dual citizenship next week, I don't think I'd physically be able to do it. I have some big announcements coming up when it comes to radio and other things. I cannot tell you anything other than that, but I have some cool things that are happening at the moment, and you will know soon. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, everything is up. There are no closed doors at the moment. Let's put it that way. But I don't think it's likely.
What else you got going on? Because I know you've been rather busy lately, especially preparing a lot of kids here locally and working on the fundamentals of baseball. But talk about everything you have going on right now, Cody.
Well, here in El Paso, of course, the El Paso Border Youth Athletic Association, we officially got 55 acres of land over in Santa Teresa, and we're trying to build a facility over there. Not just any facility. We're trying to build a spring training complex where we have the baseball aspect of this down now. Right now, we're putting out guys that are really, really changing the game here in El Paso and really turning heads. We're going to make this city a destination for baseball. The next step, we got the baseball handle. The next step is the facility. I love our facility. The base is beautiful. We have done incredible upgrades. It really is great. If you haven't been to the base lately, you're missing out. It is just chock filled to the gills with technology and great visual aids and really good coaches that know what they're doing and really care about this. You got me, you got Brent Dean, you got Joe Beimel, you got Fernie Rodriguez. There's over 50 years of professional baseball experience at this facility right now, not to mention our softball side. And we're about to create a new team on our softball side as well. I'm just so excited for what we're actually building here. It's pretty special. It really is. And it's really all coming together so well lately. This whole game that we're planning with all these El Paso guys. I mean, I could just go up and down that list that you talked about. These are all guys that are local kids who, quite frankly, never got an opportunity to be looked at. El Paso has always had this stigma that they don't produce baseball players, unfortunately. And that's a crime. Look over at Texas and look at what Ivan's doing. He's absolutely lighting up the country after he led the state of Texas in home runs over at Coronado. Unfortunately, every school and scout in the country kept saying, oh yeah, but it's El Paso. Yeah, that is a fair point because you're not getting the best arms out here yet, but now things are changing. This is going to be a destination, but let's just go through that list of guys that we're talking about. You mentioned John Figueroa. John Figueroa played at Eastwood. He played at Midland. He played at Abilene Christian. Right now, he's a college free agent, and he's one of the best defensive catchers I have worked with in my life. He is that good back there. So much so that, even Joe Beimel, 15-year big leaguer, says that John Figueroa is his favorite guy he has catching him behind only Russell Martin. I don't know what better compliment you can give a kid other than that. Axel Guerrero, he plays over at EPCC. Same with Jose Hurtado. Same with Mauricio Milan. Freddie Nunez went to Riverside. He just played at Ranger College this year. Manny Palma is a high school player at Cathedral right now. Chris Rodriguez, he played at EPCC last year, and right now he is a college free agent. Josh Ruiz played at Eastwood. He is getting ready to go to EPCC. So this is all local talent that I don't think anybody is aware of yet, and I'm hoping next week that changes.
How excited are you and like everyone over at the base whenever you guys are like the tip of the spear, so to speak, on like bringing a spotlight to the city of El Paso and like the great baseball talent they had? Because I've said for years, and Brandon can attest to this, El Paso's not a football town. We're not a basketball town. We're a baseball town. There's a lot of great baseball talent here. And now it's you guys over there at the base, you yourself in particular as well, who are shining a light on these kids and giving them an opportunity to do some really amazing things.
It's special. It's a really lovely experience. Luckily, I played enough years. I played 11 years of professional baseball, and I have a lot of really, really good relationships, not just within baseball, but also kind of on the private sector of baseball when it comes to, training tools, something like HitTrax. I have such a really good relationship with the people over at HitTrax that they want to work with us. They want to highlight us here in El Paso because we're doing some really interesting and special things with that HitTrax. In fact, they'll even tell you we're doing things with the HitTrax that no one in the country is doing with it. We have another HitTrax tournament coming up, one-day tournament coming up on the 16th of May, Sunday the 16th of May. I'm really excited about that. We're going to be streaming that thing live. We're going to have multiple cameras set up all throughout the thing, and HitTrax is talking about possibly putting it out on all their social media streamed live as well. So it's going to be really special. This Friday, you'll get a really good look. If you follow all my social medias, this Friday we have live at bats at the base every Friday. I'll be having it set up on StreamYard. You'll be able to see the live at bats, the pitchers throwing, our hitters taking on our pitchers. I will be announcing the entire thing. It's going to be an absolute blast. That'll be around 11:20 a.m. here in El Paso. So check out all my social medias. You're not going to want to miss that. It's awesome.
Well, Cody, I tell you, buddy, it's good to see you, man. And I mean, I wish you all the best. I think this is going to be really exciting, these two exhibition games.
Time. Let's focus on the real thing, Iceman. How much weight have you lost?
I'm down 160 pounds now,
Good
Cody.
Lord, what? You don't look like this. I didn't realize until now it was you.
Yeah, I used to wear a fat suit. But
I was like, my God, Tipton, who's this scrub you're working with? Oh, my God, that's Colin? Is that Brandon?
Yeah, well, I mean, I thank you, Cody. I appreciate you, buddy. You were going to ask, let's not talk about the elephant in the room. Well, I used to be the elephant in the room. But no, I mean, seriously, I appreciate it. I'm working really hard. I still want to drop another, 60 pounds or so. But, man, am I on my way, Cody. I really am. Never felt better.
Dude, congratulations. You look terrific. That's really fantastic. Good for you,
I
man.
appreciate it. And I missed you, Cody. We used to have you on the show all the time. I thought of you today. I saw your post, and I lost your damn number because I got a new phone. I'm going to get your number from Tip, or you can send it to me on Facebook.
I did not approve that, Tipton. Do not do that. Do not do that. It's not okay.
Don't you bully him into getting there's a reason why he hasn't texted you.
I get why you said that on this show. You're trying to put me in a position that I have no choice but to give you my number, and I'm just going to say no.
Hey, I got your number. I've had your number for years. I just got a new phone, unfortunately.
I'll get you my number. We're gold. But no, dude, yeah, this is awesome. I absolutely love everything in this city. I really think that it's just another opportunity to help build this city in a different way. This city is building in every way possible. Now I just get to handle this baseball aspect and this educational aspect, and just let people know on the show, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, the El Paso Border Youth Athletic Association. We take donations, and it's not even just donations. Understand that it's a crazy time in the world that nonprofits, it's very hard to donate money these days. But if you can't donate money, equipment, forget even equipment, just a retweet is very helpful because it might get in the eyes of somebody that really can help and wants to help. Really just word of mouth helps. Everything that helps these kids get to the next level, because what this is really all about, everything about this, even this game itself against Team Israel, as cool as it is, it's still all about education. It's all about getting these kids to the next level. And that next level is college. And that's where we want them to go. We want them to go to 4-year universities. Really excited. One of our players got a scholarship offer today. I am fired up. Don't know what he's going to do, so I don't want to announce anything, but I'm very excited that he got a scholarship offer to play at a 4-year college. That's something that's never happened to him before. So this is a special time. And if you're a baseball player and you want some help, there's no better place in the world to come to than us. Just come to us and let's see if we can help you. And if we can't help you, I'll try and point you in the direction of someone that can.
Our guy, Cody Decker, joining us here on Fire and Ice, doing great things in the city of El Paso, helping make dreams come true. And that is not an overstatement or anything like that. That is the actual fact. You got kids going into to colleges and getting an education, going in and continuing their baseball dreams. It's May 4th. Before we let you out of here, Cody, who wins the World Series?
Dodgers, done. If you're a gambling man and you're gambling on futures, there are 3 bets that are just easy bets. The end. You want to know who's going to win the Cy Young? Great. DeGrom and Cole. I know DeGrom was scratched today. He'll be fine. DeGrom and Cole. The end. Done. I just made you money. Who wins the World Series? The Dodgers. Done. You're welcome. Just made you money. There's not a single team that can even touch the Dodgers. Are you high, Tipton?
Not so fast. I had to do it. Wait, what about San Diego? I mean, they took 3 or 4 from the Dodgers.
You're drunk. That's what that is. You don't deserve to finish that damn question, Brandon. Really, San Diego?
Time out. If you don't think for a second I'm the biggest Padre fan in the world, I am. I want the Padres to win. Guess what? I also live in the real world. They're not going to beat the Dodgers in October. No one is.
I'm just saying it was nice they took 3 or 4, and that is your team after all. That's
trust me. Everything Dodgers Padres this year is gold, pure gold. We're getting October baseball in April and May and June, July. I am fired up. Anytime you watch Dodgers and Padres, it's must-watch television, and it is a very even series. But guess what happens in October? The Dodgers just turn it up to another level, and they stop messing around. They're gonna mess around all season and win 105 games. Then October is going to come along, and they're just going to boat race everybody. Let's remember, they just lost May. May is one of their best pitchers. Young guy, lost him for the year. Guess what? Guess how much that's going to affect that Dodgers team? Not at all, because they have Tony Gonsolin ready to go, and David Price is working long relief. They're paying him $100 million to pitch long relief. The Dodgers are going to be just fine.
This has a lot of early 2000s Yankees Red Sox vibes, the way these two teams are going at one each other, and I am here for it. Give it to me in the veins, brother.
But let's not forget one thing. There's still a team in San Francisco that does not like hearing that, and the Giants are going to continue to win. The Giants are a scrappy, tough ball club, and you better believe they're taking it personally that all people talk about is San Diego and Los Angeles. They're not liking that.
Wow. Tip, I mean, yeah, your Yankees aren't going to win it all. I agree with Decker on that one, but LA's, huh?
Yeah, sorry, Tipton. They got no shot. Shot in hell.
Yeah.
They might get out of the DS. Maybe. Big maybe. Probably not, though.
If they're lucky.
I'm gonna keep all of this. I'm gonna have just the small segments, and now I'm hoping against all hope that San Diego beats the dog shit out of the LA Dodgers, and the Yankees somehow make it past the ALCS.
Oh my God, Iceman, can we mute Tipton? This guy he's insane.
I can't mute him. I wish.
There we go. See now we can talk some actual sense.
Cody Decker and the Iceman cone. I love that, dude.
Yeah, let's talk some actual sense, because that was pure nonsense. I don't understand how there's just some level of narcissism that every Yankee fan just is born with.
Would you say that Tipton's a little Meshuggah?
I would.
I had to do it. A member of the tribe. I had to do it. I knew he'd know what it meant. You know, Tip?
I would say that.
How often does Brandon just send you something in Yiddish? Because I feel like that would happen regularly.
I have a feeling once you give him my number, it's going to be daily.
Poor Cody.
I got to say, Major League Baseball right now is a blast. But these New York fans, Tipton, can you talk to your New York fans and get them to calm the hell down? The Yankees are going to be fine. The Mets are going to be fine. And hell, the Mets are going to be so fine. They're probably in one of the worst divisions in the National League, not to mention the major leagues. I personally think the NL Central is the worst division in baseball. That's my opinion. That being said, the entire the NL East is playing like the worst division in baseball. It's atrocious. The Mets are a team that can hit. They just had to fire their entire hitting coaching staff, which is ridiculous, but especially this early in the season. But let's face facts. This team is not swing the bat well at all. Dom Smith can swing the bat. He absolutely can. Up and down, that entire lineup, that team can hit. So watching them fail the way they are, it's driving me nuts.
The one thing that I can say about the Mets is like it's all about pitching and defense. Pitching and defense get you everything, and as soon as they start hitting, they're going to be unstoppable. And like you said, that division is a dumpster fire.
Awful. You know the Nationals are going to be a scrappy team, but they're really not going to do any damage. The Marlins are young, but they're still 2 to 3 years away. Come on, let's be real clear with that. And the Phillies. The Phillies are just the benchmark of mediocrity when it comes to a major league franchise. I don't even know what to do with. How do you spend all that money and still figure out how to be 500? It's maddening that the Phillies can't figure it out.
I've always loved your takes, man. I missed you. I really did.
Oh, I'm blowing you kisses.
I'm kind of jealous, but then like I can just text Cody and he'll blow me a kiss like that.
You have his number and I don't, man. What the hell, dude?
Okay. So Brandon sends me a text. He's like, "Hey, I got Cody Decker." I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome." And then Cody sent me a text right afterwards, like, "Hey, I'm talking about this." I was like, "Hey, let's go with it, man." I didn't want to tell him that I had your number, Cody, because I felt like he would get jealous, and now I just want to keep your number away from him.
Oh.
I mean, you could do this all day. You like all month. Like make it a segment.
Oh yeah.
What can we get the Iceman to do to get my phone number?
That's great.
Can we ruin his diet? If you eat that whole pizza, I'll give you my phone number.
That's very tempting, Cody, but I don't know if it works.
I'm trying to kill Brandon.
I was about to say that. Like we all love Brandon, and you're over here trying to just put a knife in.
I am simply not a good person. I actually really like Brandon. I'm sitting here trying to kill him. It's an awful thing. All for content. That is just a terrible. I've become this.
You've become ESPN. Let's do what we can to get content.
I don't care who we ruin. Let's do it.
Cody, as always, my dude, it's a pleasure talking with you, and we wish you the best of luck as the Team El Paso Elites takes on Team Israel in Scottsdale next week.
Thank you. Really, really excited. Thank you guys for letting me come on and talk about it. Really, I cannot be more excited for these kids. Like, this is just, if I was in their shoes, I would be ecstatic, and it's very cool.
Good luck, Cody.
Thanks, guys.
That was our dude, Cody Decker. Always a fun time hanging out with him as well, except for the fact that he wants to shit on my Yankees at every chance he gets.
That, and he won't give me his damn number. That pisses me off. And you have it, and I don't. Fook that. Like McGregor would say, fook that. Okay? You know what? I'm going to work to try and get his damn number, Tip. I'm just going to tell you that right now, dude.
We'll find a way to tease this on for the rest of the month. I will get you his number at the end of the month of May. But yes, we will make sure you get that number eventually.
Hey, huge show next week. We're going to preview UFC 262. Nostradamus is coming back again. The Nostradamus of UFC, Jesse Almanzar. And hopefully, I'm going to call my boy Mike Smith again. Imagine that lineup, folks. It's must-watch TV for Fire and Ice.
So there we go. I will withhold your number or Cody Decker's number until you get me Mike Smith's number. And he and I are going to be best friends eventually.
I think you guys already are.
We did have a good time. Brandon is always my guy. I got none but love for you. Everyone out there that was watching the show as well, thank you so much for supporting what we do over here at Fire and Ice. I'm looking forward to next week already. I can't wait to see how Jess just obliterates you one more time.
Yeah, I look forward to it. No more friggin' bets, though, man. Don't make me bet her again on the air. I don't want to owe her more Whataburger for crying out loud.
It's not me that makes you make the bets. It's yourself that makes you. I just put the seed out there. You do it.
And you know what? I am going to whoop her ass next time, and she's going to owe me food, okay? I'm going to say it right now. I'm talking.
I would say right now, double or nothing.
Yeah, hell yeah. Why not double or nothing? I got you. I got you, Jesse. You ain't got nothing on me.
I love it. We're getting ready for UFC next week. I got to talk in Vince McMahon voice.
I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm all checked up.
Brandon, as always, I'll see you later, buddy.
Love you, pal.